Okay, so today we're going to be walking through lesson 4.5, where we're going to be talking about still writing and solving equations, but this time we're going to include our rational numbers. So example 1 says a 6-foot piece of fruit snack is cut into 2 pieces. What is the length of the shorter piece of fruit? So one piece we see here is cut into 3 3/4. So that's one piece. We started with, I'm going to draw a little diagram for you guys. So we started with a 6-foot piece of a fruit snack. And we know part of it was cut into 3 3/4. And we want to figure out what was this second piece cut into. What is this x? What is this unknown variable over here? So what was the second piece cut into? So what we know, the whole thing is 6 feet. So we know this whole thing together equals 6 feet. So we know that the larger piece put together with the smaller piece equals 6. So we're going to combine those two to get the whole thing. And we know when we're combining, we're going to add. So we're going to write 3 3/4 plus x. And now we just have an addition equation where we can undo the operation to solve for our missing variable. So remember, when we're dealing with addition, we're going to undo it by using the opposite operation, which is subtraction. So we're going to subtract 3 3/4 from both sides. Remember, these cancel out. So we're left with x equals 6 minus 3 3/4. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write 6 as a fraction. So I'm going to put 6 over 1. And I'm going to turn my 3 3/4 into an improper fraction, because right now it's a mixed number. So to do that, I'm going to multiply the whole number times the denominator. So I have 3 times 4, which is 12. And then I'm going to add my numerator, which would get me to 15. And whenever I'm dealing with improper fractions, my denominator always stays the same. So I'm going to have 15/4. So now my next step when I'm subtracting is I need to make sure whenever I'm adding or subtracting fractions, I have to find the common denominator. So I'm going to look over my 6 over 1. How can I get my denominator here to equal 4? I can multiply by 4. And remember, whatever I multiply to the bottom, I have to multiply to the top. So I'm going to have 6 times 4, which is 24, over 1 times 4, which is 4, minus 15 over 4. So now I can just go ahead and subtract. Remember, denominator always stays the same when you add or subtract. The only thing that changes is the numerator. So I'm going to do 25 minus 15. I'm sorry, 24 minus 15, which is going to be 9. And now again, I'm not done. This is 9 over 4. I have an improper fraction. I want to turn it back into a mixed number. So I'm going to think about how many times can 4 go into 9, or just divide, do 9 divided by 4. So 4 can go into 9 2 times. The denominator stays the same. And there is 1 left over to get me to that numerator of 9. So I have 2 1/4 is my answer. So the length of this unknown, the shorter fruit, what was this, a fruit snack? The shorter length of the fruit snack was 2 1/4. So basically, same process that we've been doing, except now we're adding in our rational numbers to have even more fun with this. So let's try another example. So example 2, it says use inverse relationships to solve each equation. So again, inverse relationship is just where we're doing the opposite of the operation. If it's subtraction, we're doing addition. If it's multiplication, we're undoing the operation by dividing. So A, it's a subtraction problem. So to undo that operation, what operation do we need to do? We're going to add. So we're going to add 4/9 to both sides. These cancel out, so I'm left with y. I'm going to write over here so I have more room. Y equals 5 1/3 plus 4/9. So I'm going to go ahead and turn 5 1/3 into an improper fraction. And when I do that, I am going to get 16/3 plus 4/9. To be able to add, I need to make sure that we have the same common denominator. So I'm going to multiply my first fraction by 3 to have the same common denominator of 9. So I have 16 times 3 is 48, and 3 times 3 is 9. So I'm left with 48 over 9 plus 4 over 9. Again, when I am adding, the denominator stays the same. So I still have my denominator of 9. And 48 plus 4 is 52, so I have 52 ninths. Again, I'm not finished here. This is my improper fraction. I want to turn it back into a mixed number. So I'm going to divide 52 and 9. How many times can 9 go into 52? It can go in 5 times. My denominator stays the same, and there are 7 left over to get me to 52. So my answer here is 5 and 7 ninths. All right, let's try B, 3/8 times n. So remember, whenever there is a number right next to a variable, it needs to multiply. And to undo multiplication, I'm going to divide. So I'm going to divide both sides of my equation by 3/8. These two are going to cancel out, so I'm left with n equals 3/4 divided by 3/8. Remember, when I am dividing with fractions, I'm going to keep, change, flip. So I'm going to keep 3/4, change division into multiplication, and flip my second fraction. So it's going to, or do the reciprocal, do 8 over 3. Now, if you want to multiply and simplify after you multiply, you can. I'm going to simplify first. So these 3's I know can cancel out, and they're going to turn to 1. And I can divide 4 and 8 both by 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. So I'm left with 1 over 1 times 2 over 1. And my answer here is just 2 over 1, which is also the same as just 2. All right, C. P divided by 5 equals 8. So whenever you see that fraction, we're dividing there. So to undo division, I'm going to multiply by 5 on both sides. So I'm going to say P is equal to 8 times 5, which we know is 40. So P equals 40 there. All right, last one, example 3. So Molly bought these oranges for $7.15. She paid the same amount for every orange. Write and solve an equation to find M, the cost of each orange. So first, we know how much we bought. We know how much it cost us, which was $7.15. We don't know what M is. We don't know the price of each orange. We know how many oranges we have, which first we have to count. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So you have 13 oranges. They each cost the same amount. So to figure out how much total we have, we're going to be multiplying. So we're going to do 13 times M, or just 13M, equals how much we paid, $7.15. So to figure out how much this one is, we're going to divide here. So we're going to divide by 13 on both sides. These 13s cancel out, so I'm left with M equals $7.15 divided by 13. So you guys to go ahead and divide this. When we set this up in the division house, remember 13 is going to go on the outside. $7.15 is going to go on the inside. Don't forget to bring up that decimal so you don't get confused there. So when we divide these two, we're going to get 0.55, which is just 55 cents. So each orange cost us 55 cents. So this process is exactly the same as solving equations with multiplication, division, addition, or subtraction. It's just now we're throwing in some decimals and fractions to make this process even more interesting for you guys.